Now Ayrshire Radio Podcast presents Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Welcome back to Ayrshire Insights with me, Elliot Boyce, and today's local legend is someone whose leadership has helped shape the heartbeat of Ayrshire's business community. As Chief Executive of the Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce, she has been a driving force behind local enterprise, championing innovation, growth and collaboration across the region. It's a real privilege to welcome Claire Baird to the show. Claire, thanks for joining us. We're thrilled to have you.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. It's really brilliant to be here.
So before we find out about how it all started, it is a Sunday morning, so most people will have the frying pan and the kettle on. So the big question for you, tomato sauce or brown sauce?
Tomato.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
And what is your Sunday morning go-to roll?
A wee square sausage roll.
There we go. Right, you can tell a lot about a person with a Sunday morning roll routine, but we're going to find out a lot more about Claire Baird very soon.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Now Ayrshire Radio.
So Claire, where did you grow up?
Cumnock.
From Cumnock, and are you still in Cumnock now?
No, I stay in Ochiltree, so not really too far from Cumnock. So yeah.
Good. So what was your first job?
So I was actually at the Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce. So I graduated from university, had a quality management degree, started to apply for jobs, but it was that old chestnut of if you don't have the experience, you're not going to get a job. So at that point, my dad was a director at Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce, and they had recently employed a man called Bob Leach to really grow the chamber and take the chamber to the next level. So he was needing a PA as such. So I applied for that job and I was successful. So I've pretty much done every job from that's in the chamber. So got a real insight into every element that we deliver.
Fantastic. So what roles, you started off PA, what other roles did you do when you were growing up through the chamber?
So I did events, I did international trade, so we are the Chamber as an issuing body, so any business that needs to export their goods to a different country, we say that has been certify the origin. So I stamped documents, I did the business magazine, so yeah, any job that we've done in the Chamber, then I have had experience in it.
Fantastic, and probably stood you in real good stead to now lead the chamber with the fact that you've had experience around all the different departments and also found out about the different challenges and the different elements of each of the parts. Right, we're going to talk about the big wins and the biggest lessons and what it's like being the Chief Executive of Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce just after this.
Tune in live every Sunday from 10 a.m. for Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Only on Now Ayrshire Radio.
Now Ayrshire.
So I think first of all, Claire, a lot of people have probably heard of chambers across Scotland, the UK, but nobody might know exactly what you do. So what does Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce do?
Yep, so we are a business support organisation. We have just over 800 members that pans East, North and South Ayrshire. We're a limited company by guarantee. We actually still struggle with misconceptions of what a chamber is. People think we're publicly funded, but we're not. We are a small business. They think it's still men in suits, but all our staff are females. I know that doesn't really hit the diversity card, but it's just the way that it's happened. And people still believe that we're only for big companies, but we span your sole traders right up to your multinational businesses. And we have a range of benefits and services. So we have a choice-based model. So that's bronze, silver and gold, which is our core membership offering. And then we have gold plus and platinum partners.
Amazing. Now, it is unbelievable the amount of services you use. Even in my experience in business, I've used the chamber even as much in the past week with legalising documents for export, and it's without knowing that there's a number of services that you might do that some businesses here in Ayrshire may even be part of your member services that don't necessarily know how vital the services that you've got and can actually use it. Now, going into the different tiered membership, so you mention about small businesses and sole traders. Now, every business, no matter the size, can sometimes be a one-person business that might then go and employ someone. They have the same challenges of that one person as a big business may be, the good old saying, small business with big business problems. How can the Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce help those types of businesses?
Yep, so our basic membership offering is our bronze package, and what that gives you access to, we're actually a British Chambers of Commerce accredited chamber, so that it means that there's one of 51 across the UK, which allows our members access to additional benefits and services. So one of those is our 4 services, which covers HR, legal, health and safety and tax. So businesses can get access to a 24-hour 7 helpline if they have an issue with a member of staff, for example. They would phone up the helpline and they would take the advice that that person on the other end of the phone would give, and they would follow that through, and they would keep the service provider up to date on where you are with that situation. But the beauty is, if to go to an employment tribunal, for example, they would represent you in that tribunal, and if there was a need for a payout, then there's a £1 million indemnity. So to give protect peace of mind, protect your business, that, just to have that. And our the cost of a bronze membership is £165 a year. So to give that peace of mind, then I do really think that's amazing value for money.
When you think about that and breaking it down, £13.75 a month.
Yeah.
And to get all of those services that if you were to try and instruct yourself or pay as you go would be significantly more than that. So as the business show, we're all about small business, and a lot of people might be scared and taking that jump to employing someone, but there is services out there, including the Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce, that can help that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what that also gives access to is a platform that you can download. So again, businesses that are just going on to that next stage, employing someone, as you give that example, they can access contracts of employment, policies, procedures, that's all there for them to download. So it really is a massive support to somebody who's maybe navigating that journey for the first time, and then they've got the addition of picking up the phone, to give them that, the confidence to employ more people as well.
Amazing. And I think for anybody who is starting out, how do they find out about it? If they want to make the next step, what ways can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can go on and join online through our website, or they just pick up the phone, and one of the membership team would be more than delighted to to come out and speak and take them through all the options, that the choice-based model. But non-members are welcome to come to our events. So any way that they want to engage with us, they can engage through social media. We have, whether it's Twitter, it's X now, isn't it? Facebook, Instagram, we're all across many social media platforms. So or just lift the phone. Good old fashioned, lift the phone.
Pick up and have a chat.
Yeah, definitely.
So going on to your journey, right? So you're chief executive, you've worked through all the various roles within the chamber to get to where you're at today. What would you say your first big win has been?
So I took over as chief executive in October 2022. So this is 3 years, just over 3 years. And I suppose the first big win was Business Week and Business Awards. So that was a massive thing, even though I wasn't really involved in the planning. It was I had to ensure that was delivered. All the planning and things had already been underway, but it's on the night when you've got 500 people in the room, and all throughout the business week, and the events that are happening, that obviously falls to me ultimately to make sure that things run smoothly. So that was a massive thing to be like, because I've always been involved in the chamber, but never that side of the business, if you know. So to have that responsibility was a big thing, and it was a big sigh of relief once the week had ended. Really
flug into a public kind of first week, and it was open to everyone. Now, talking about the business week, we spotlighted that for the business week each day. I remember finding out about the journey in each of the days. Lots of networking events. So how do you feel that the business week can help spotlight and help businesses?
It really it's an opportunity to bring businesses, like-minded people together to connect, grow, innovate. We've got, so on the Monday we had Evelyn MacDonald, who was the chief executive of the regional Scottish Edge, come down and just talk to businesses about how, if have they considered applying to the Edge, which is a business competition where you can just secure funding. There's not a lot of funding out there for businesses. So, for her to come down and be able to speak to our members to actually inspire them. And we actually had a panel. So we had Craig Johnston of ILT Education, our president, and we also had Jamie Burns of Ayrshire Reliability Solutions. And they had secured Scottish Edge funding. So they were able to share the stories. And so it gives businesses that maybe have thought, that's not for me. It gives them the confidence and it gives them the connections to say, actually, I'm going to have a chat to Jamie or Craig and actually find out how did they approach it and maybe I can do this. So, and that's one example. We've got the business to business exhibition on the Wednesday. We had over 80 stands. So again, that's bringing people in the room. It's hopefully it'll encourage business to business, and just for people to make connections. And I suppose it culminates with the business awards, and that's really to inspire, share practice. Like, there's so much doom and gloom out there. We want to raise the happiness of and showcase the good businesses and things that are here in Ayrshire. And that's one way that we feel, the whole business week, but the business awards culminates in that celebration.
Amazing. Now, you mentioned the business week, and you mentioned some of the names. Jamie from Ayrshire Reliability has been in the show. Another company from Ayrshire just recently won the Scottish Edge Awards. It was Ryan from FuelFit.
Yes,
we had Ryan,
also a member.
Yeah, we had Ryan on the show just a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing what the businesses that we've got here in Ayrshire, and that's something that through doing the business show on now Ayrshire Radio became quite amazing to me to just see all the different businesses. I mean, you mentioned Jamie, Ayrshire Reliability Solutions, what he's doing with the AI elements and monitoring things from co-winning. It's amazing how that's going across the board now. There's amazing businesses here in Ayrshire. We are very big at promoting them, as is Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce, and it's great to hear that Business Week and the things that you do, and also the awards off the back of that. I mean, and get into more, and something that I think's very important, developing young workforce. Now, working for a company, Emergency One, we won the Developing Young Workforce Award this year at the Business Awards, which was fantastic. Since then, I've met with Walter Smith, who is one of the
business ambassadors.
That's the one. So what I remember, Walter, growing up through school, he was always there supporting young people getting into business. The Prince's Trust he was involved with, to now being involved with developing young workforce. Talk to us about that, because I think that's a really important thing for Ayrshire. We've got amazing businesses around here. If you look at the different industries, from manufacturing, you've got aviation, to name a few. What would you say about developing young workforce and what work's happening here in Ayrshire?
Yep, so skills is one of the biggest issues that we hear from businesses. It continues to be one of the biggest issues, but the work that we do within the Chamber, so we don't only have developing the young workforce, but we have been contracted by local authorities for, I would say, maybe 20 years now to expand involvement, business involvement in local schools, and we also deliver the schools work experience. So when developing the young workforce came along, which is a Scottish Government initiative to expand employer involvement in schools and ensure those pathways for young people, they're aware of what's out there. Because I remember, you remember being at school and you don't really appreciate, you see these businesses, but you don't actually know what goes on behind the closed doors. So really that is what developing the young workforce is set up to do, is make those connections. We have a school coordinator, a developing young workforce school coordinator in every secondary school, and their task is to work with young people to identify, what is it you're interested in, and just raise the awareness and make sure that those pathways, they're known and available, I suppose, is what I mean to say. But also with developing young workforce Ayrshire, we have funded over 100 projects, and that's the work that Walter is involved in. We've funded over 100 projects that are in school, so they range from barista to cyber security to construction, rural skills, so that they're grown. Like, we've actually got beekeepers as well.
So you mentioned beekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
That's something. So Walter was in, and he came to see me in Emergency One, and we had a good chat about beekeeping. So that's an initiative that Emergency One's now starting. And doing the beekeeping, and we're working in partnership with the developing young workforce and the other organisations in order to do that. And it's another skill set that is a shortage. I mean, do we know beekeepers locally? But it turns out we do. And there's organisations out there that's promoting people into that. And you mentioned barista. I mean, there's some amazing stories with that. A business that came from an idea in school and then grew into it. I think Walter actually heavily dealt with that from Greenwood days, away back in the years. But it's an amazing part of Ayrshire. I mean, you've got people who are highly experienced. Walter Smith, for example, these days, IBM at a very senior level, writing programming and code before programming and code was really a thing that anyone else was doing. But the work that the Chamber's doing with that continues to add on to it and grow awareness to other businesses in the area.
Yeah, I think, and it's for the young people. So the young people are learning in a different way, you know. It's vocational education. Not everybody is good at, maths or English, and they don't need to be, but if they can apply their skills in a different way. So that's what these projects allow people to do. They're gaining qualifications and they're transferable skills. And that's what we need, because we often hear from businesses that, what they're teaching kids in schools these days, they don't know. But if they're going through these projects, then they can evidence those transferable skills. They know how to turn up in time, so they're really important. And actually, some of the times with the projects, it's young people who are not attending that the only time that they come into schools is to attend these projects. So it's re-engaging young people as well. But the projects are for not just for people who are not engaging in school, but it's again it's adding, so those people that do want to go to university, they can still participate in the projects, and again are developing those skills, because it's actually really difficult to get a job, a Saturday job. Remember, you used to get loads of Saturday jobs. It's quite difficult for young people to secure them now. So they're getting that work experience in a school setting, which again they can put in their CV when they are looking to move into the world of work.
Investing in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we've got to do here in Ayrshire. And there has been mention recently of skill shortages and stuff, but I think from experience as well, and seeing people coming through doors and like apprentice uptakes and different things, there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of people looking for jobs, a lot of young people. But one thing as well, I mean, you talk about the aviation sector and also manufacturing sector, something I've got more experience in. And when we get young people in and going through the apprenticeship programme, I think we're taking between 12 and 20 apprentices on every single year. It's the retention at the end of that and having the positive destination for them. I think we're up high 90%, 98% of retaining people. How do you find that is when maybe businesses that are funded with apprenticeships, how do you find that is in terms of keeping young people on and get into full-time opportunities?
I mean, I think if businesses have the roots and the jobs after they finish their apprenticeship, then they will retain. I think there's an issue at the moment with people are people are gaining their apprenticeship and they're leaving the company and going to another company, so that companies feel that they've invested those 4 years, for example, and then they've lost that investment because their other companies are paying a bit more. So that is a problem. I think there's also a problem with, again, there is a lot of work going on, but we're not good at retaining young people in Ayrshire. They're going to your Glasgow's, Edinburgh's, and is that because we're not selling that Ayrshire story well enough in terms of the great businesses that are here to make sure they are aware of the opportunities? I think we need to join that up a bit better. But there's loads of brilliant good news stories about people that invest in apprentices, and I know businesses want to do more, and how can the college do more in terms of getting more apprentices. I think the skills system needs to be revisited a bit in Scotland to be employer driven rather than the government dictating, well, these are the places that Ayrshire College, for example, are going to get, when actually industry is telling us we could have 100 apprentices, yet they've only got opportunities for 50 a day.
So being able to look at what's available in the local colleges to meet the skill need for the area.
Yeah.
Now, throughout your time being chief executive, I'm sure that you've had some challenges. What would you say one of your biggest challenges has been in running the chamber?
The chamber's two things. I say we are a small business. So we are, as I mentioned earlier, we are not public sector funded. We need to go out and secure contracts and things. So we are a small business. So it's looking at, since I've came in, it's looking at how do I, identify more commercial opportunities so that the Chamber ensures that we can continue to support, businesses' growth and support the region to drive economically. So there's always challenges when you're running a business. I mean, from that perspective, national insurance contributions was a big one for us. We had to absorb that as well. Rates is another massive thing. So all the challenges that our members are telling us, we also are experiencing. So from that commercial perspective, there's been a few, curveballs kind of, thrown in.
How do you find the engagement with local authorities?
So we have really good relationships with local authorities, with the 3 local authorities across the region. They are operating in really challenging times in terms of the funding that they're getting. There was shared prosperity funding, that's no longer. There's a new growth innovation, I think, fund, but that is a reduced cost. So they need to, how do they manage that and deliver, public services? But what I need to do is keep pushing the business angle, because it's businesses that, create the jobs. It's them that pay the tax to then support improvement in public services. So my conversations with the 3 local authorities are very much, right, what more can we be doing to support business to grow? And that will ultimately support you to deliver better public services for Ayrshire. So no, they're really good. I have good relationships with the 3 local authorities, but is there more we can do to improve? Absolutely.
Now, next, we've heard about the listeners' bargain of the week, but we want to find out what your bargain of the week is, plus finding out about Claire Baird's links to the community. Going to do it just after this.
Now streaming
Ayrshire Insights, hosted by Elliot Boyce.
This is Now Ayrshire Radio.
It's time to talk community, charity and Ayrshire Pride. But before we find out about your links to the community, we've looked for listeners to get in touch and let us know their bargain of the week. But it's now time for you to let me know what your bargain of the week is. What have you managed to get?
So I recently ordered a skincare kind of haul, and I got a free serum. So that was a bit of a bargain for me. I didn't expect it, so I was delighted. I always like a wee freebie.
There we go. You can't beat a freebie. That is definitely a bargain. Right, back to you. So why support local causes like us at Now Ayrshire Radio?
So it's very local. We want to, I think our goals align, very closely. We want to talk up Ayrshire. So that's why, Now Ayrshire Radio are a platinum partner, and we're absolutely delighted to have you. We feel that we've got an opportunity to help raise the profile of the radio station and, support you to make it as big and best as it can be. Local radio is rooted in community, and even though we are more focused on a business community, community is what it's all about, and we should be doing more in our communities to support each other in towns and villages, because that's what Ayrshire's made up of, and I think we've lost a bit of that. So, I hope by supporting Now Ayrshire Radio, then we're supporting that fuller picture of what community means.
Supporting local is such a big thing. I actually read something, it was a few weeks ago in the show, and it was about if you spent like an extra £1 a week in a local shop or in your local community, how much of a massive impact that can have to the local area. What would you say to people who maybe are quick to go online but not look what's right here locally?
Yeah, I think it's so easy to do that, but it is really important that we do support our local businesses, because we need to remember that they are the ones that support local. They create jobs, they employ local people, we keep people here, we create those communities. So it is really important that we do look locally before going online, and I know it's so easy to do that, but if we don't use them, then we're going to lose them. We can see in town centres at the moment, we maybe need to rethink what a town centre looks like, because I remember when I was young, you would get dressed up to come to Ayr, but that's maybe not got the range of businesses as it once had, but there's a lot of businesses in the town centres that are really trying hard, so we need to do our utmost to support them to make sure that we don't lose them.
And I think as well, you mentioned that people are very, very quick when they read the articles online that the devastating news that a shop, a pub, a club, whatever it may be, is shutting, and everyone's very quick to jump on it and go, oh, it's terrible, the high street, and blame it. But you've got to support it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's fine to sit and go, oh, that's a shame, and I remember that, but unless you support it, businesses can't survive, especially in the world that we're in just now, where you mentioned earlier on about the rising costs, your employer's national insurance, minimum wage going up again. Now, as much as it's fantastic the way the minimum wage is rising and we're able to support people, but fundamentally there's a cost to that. There's a cost to the business, which in effect hits the consumer. But if we don't support locally, that way where you just nip down to the shop, you can grab that item that you used to always get from there. If you don't support it, don't use it, it's not going to be there.
Yeah, it's going to disappear, and we do need to really rethink how we are shopping, I think. But it's convenience, isn't it? I mean, I think the world that we live in just now, it's so fast paced, and people do think, well, what's most convenient? But actually, if we could take some time and slow the pace of life down a bit, then we could go back to the butchers, all that stuff that we used to do like years ago. And it's things are moving on, and that's a good thing. But we need to really invest in our local communities and make sure that they continue to be here.
I think when you mention that, though, it can be the funny sense that when anybody goes into their house at night, they might be like that, there's nothing in the telly to watch, but you've got at the click of the button your Netflixes, Disney Pluses, all the streaming services, but yet people go, there's just nothing to watch. Whereas if you remember going back, you would go
5 channels,
and then you would go to Blockbuster, and it would be that day out where you would go, right, we're picking that movie, and it was brilliant. Yeah. But now you've got all that at a click of the hand, and because people can access those types of services, but everything else with just the click of a button, it makes it. It loses that bit where you've got access to so much that you feel you've got not as much.
No, I think it's instant gratification as well that we expect now, and I think we're spoiled. We've got too much choice. I think actually, we're so spoiled, and we're acting like spoiled children in some instances. We're like, oh my God, there's nothing, and you're like, what? Just as you're saying, there's so much.
Amazing.
Somebody's needing to take away, put us in the naughty corner.
I know, and get back to basics. Now, how would you say that the Chamber's impacted locally?
So we have really tried over the past year and a half to 2 years to really raise our profile in terms of like that policy and lobbying. So we really feel that we've got a role, well, we do have a role to play on, policy lobbying for what's right for business. There is a thought out there that government at the moment is not pro-business, so I think it's more important now for us to be coming together collectively to raise that profile, to make sure that we continue to bang the drum and say, right, that's not, the regulation that you're bringing out is not going to support us to grow, and have you thought, look at it in different ways. So I feel that we're doing that. We've recently just launched, it's finished now, but a quarterly economic survey, so that'll gather local business insights that will be captured, analysed, and we'll publish that information. So we've had 115 responses. So what that will do is highlight the challenges and successes of Ayrshire, and it will ensure our voice is heard in national economic discussions. So that's really important, and I think that's something that we want to continue to do and raise the profile of Ayrshire, nationally, internationally, whatever it is, because I think sometimes we're overlooked, and as a region we have a lot to offer, but we're not shouting about it enough. So that's what I see as the Chamber's focus to do, is do more of that, and then that's going to hopefully bring economic growth, further economic growth to the region. We've got great businesses here, but they're often operating in very challenging circumstances, and we all need to come together, work collaboratively to see how best we can support those businesses to grow and innovate, and how do we make sure that Ayrshire is a place that people want to live, work, invest and visit. And I think that is the focus for the Chamber. That is the board and I and the team, that's what we're focused on.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to finish strong with a fun round and we're going to find out what's next for Claire Baird just after this.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast with Elliot Boyce.
Now time for 5 fast ones. So Claire, I don't want you to think about it. Just shout out the first answer that comes into your head. Are you ready to play 5 fast ones?
Yes.
Right, let's do it. Favourite takeaway?
Fish and chips.
Song that always lifts your mood?
Sandy B, Make the World Go Round.
Best thing about Ayrshire?
I think it's got to be its people and the quality of offer across Ayrshire.
Weirdest moment at work?
I remember one time I had a meeting at work and I had to meet this guy in his grand's back garden. Weird.
Different. And who plays you in a movie of your life?
I've never really thought about that question, but I'm not sure. But I would like I like kind of your Judi Dench. I mean, maybe not play me, but I like your Judi Dench, Maggie Smith, and actors like that.
So Judi Dench playing you in a movie of your life. There we go.
Maybe I'll need to be a bit older by then, hopefully.
Right, thanks for playing 5 fast ones. We'll be asking our guests every week to get involved. So, Claire, what's next for you?
So, in terms of the Chamber, we have our annual dinner coming up at the end of March. We've got Mike Suter, who you may know of The Apprentice, so we're really excited about that. We're back to Turnberry for that dinner, and that's a massive dinner for us. We've got over 500 people will be attending that. We've got a visit to the Scottish Parliament coming up for some of our members. We are also going to be hosting a hustings. So in the lead up to the Scottish elections, we'll have people from different political parties. So that's something that people can get involved and come along to. So yeah, lots of different events coming up. But really, it's just what more can we be doing to really raise the profile at Ayrshire, and it's more, continuing on that theme. It's just keep pushing to try and do that and make sure that businesses are supported to grow and innovate as much as they can.
Now, looking forward to it and looking forward to dinner. We were going to be there with Now Ayrshire Radio as well, and looking forward to seeing it, and also getting to find out from the Apprentice star as well, finding out his story. So before we finish up, you must have some shout outs and thanks you would like to give to people that's been with you throughout your journey at the Chamber.
Yeah, so just a massive thank you. Firstly, needs to go to my team. I mean, I couldn't do my job without the amazing team that I've got behind us. Everybody is so passionate in the Chamber. We do really all believe in the Chamber, and we also believe in our members. So a big shout out to all our members who are on this journey with us. The Chamber is nothing without its members, so they are at the heart of everything we do, and so a shout out to them too.
Claire, a massive thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me. It was good. It was good fun.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast.
Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe now.